Hi, everyone. I'm Lynette Hanover, and I'm the host of this show, the Big Time Happiness Show, that is. And today we have some wonderful guests who will be discussing the hot topic of AI. We are going to look at this from the perspective of the positive influence AI can have in our lives. Today, we are asking the question, can AI make us happier? We know a lot about its efficiencies and different ways it can help us, yet can it increase our well being and bring us to a better way of life? Today, we are here with two amazing people. It's Gina Carr and Terry Brock, and they are two of the top AI experts in the United States. And they work with businesses in leveraging AI for optimal results. Gina has been recognized as an e-commerce top marketing thought leader by We Magazine. And as a graduate of Harvard Business School, she helps clients navigate and implement AI to increase customer engagement, efficiency, and business growth. Terry is recognized as an international speaker, working with some of the most prestigious organizations around the world. As a Speaker Hall of Fame inductee, Terry is now on the rise as a top AI trainer and presenter. Together, they created Stark Raving Entrepreneurs. I'm excited to be part of that. And what that is, it's a membership group focused on helping business owners scale and leverage their business through artificial intelligence, tools, resources, and accountability. So I'm so grateful that we're here today with both Terry and Gina talking really about, AI as a whole and specifically, can AI help make us happier? So Terry and Gina, welcome.
Well,
Great to be with you.
delighted to be here. Thank you so much, Lynette.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Lord, you being part of our community.
oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So I was just thinking maybe the two of you can start off by sharing how the two of you decided to start working together initially. Because I know you've had, very vibrant careers, and then coming together as the powerhouse couple that you are in business has been really helpful to so many.
Gary, why don't you go ahead?
Well, I was thinking we let ladies go first, so Gina, I'll let you go ahead.
Well, gosh, I guess it goes all the way back to when I first met him. I was a member of the National Speakers Association, and I was attending the Georgia chapter's regular monthly meeting. And there was this guy coming called Terry Brock, and he's supposed to be really genius in marketing and technology. And those were two of my favorite topics. And so I was there listening intently, taking pages and pages of notes. Needless to say, over time, we got closer, we got romantically involved, and all along, we've respected one another's talents and abilities and insights into marketing and technology. And we enjoy each other. We enjoy doing a lot of things together. And so it just seemed natural, especially as we created our community, Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, which was originally Video Rock Stars, that, well, there's a lot of things that we could do together to make it better and to enjoy working together also.
Yeah, and I would agree. I think it's a very important part of our lives, working in business for both of us, even before we met each other. And then we always look for someone that we could work with and have business interaction together. That's important. We both have our MBAs. I got my MBA from Georgia State University, a very good Southern school. I like that. Gina had to settle for Harvard, didn't get into Georgia State, but that's okay. I still love her anyway. But business is important for both of us. And so it's just a natural thing to do that. I think each couple has to decide what's right for them. And for us, we know that business is important. So that's part of why we're together.
I love that. And I know that you both had your successful careers and then you came together for Stark Raving Entrepreneurs and really presenting very important topics around AI with the thrust of AI into our lives recently. So you can tell us a little bit about how AI as a topic became interesting to you both and how it became kind of like the pulse point of some of the things that you're up to these days with the work that you do.
Well, being naturally interested in technology, we're constantly on the lookout for what can make our lives better, what can enhance our lives, as well as the lives of our clients, which are other entrepreneurs, people who are busy building businesses and growing their empires. And so AI just immediately came on the scene. Well, it's been out there for a long time, and we've been using it for a long time. Like the books that Amazon would recommend. Oh, if people who bought this, you might like that. Other services that we've been using for years that were employing AI, it just wasn't necessarily called that. Now, Terry actually has been speaking about AI as a topic for many years. So let's go back to Terry to fill in a little bit there of how he got interested in it.
Yeah, I think it's a tool that we use, and these tools help us to get better. That's what I look at with technology. I think technology is not something that's going to make us happy or make us sad anymore. AI is going to make us happy. To say it's going to make you any more than say, well, this pen right here is going to make you happy. Well, it's kind of up to you. The pen itself is an inanimate object, and AI is an inanimate object. Can it make you happy? Not really. You are the one that makes you happy. And so you have to take the steps in the right direction. But I think that AI is really profoundly changing our world, and there's a lot of good for it. I like the way you're positioning it, Lynette, to say, let's focus on the good. There's also some negative side, like any technology that's there. Look at airplanes. People have died in airplanes. Yes, very sad, but that doesn't mean we say never fly in an airplane because bad things have happened. We have to use our brains, and we think, okay, what do we do to make it better? And so with AI, I'm looking at the things that are happening. Matter of fact, I just finished just about 30 minutes, well, about an hour ago, my video for this week. We're putting out on YouTube and everything, and it's about AI and 3 tools that I'm saying. One of them gives you the ability to go beyond just the business, but to really interact with AI, talking in a fun, casual, emotional way, called Pi.ai. It's a free tool. Pi.ai. You can run out there and get a free account and be able to just talk and interface back and forth, asking questions about a variety of topics. It can help you with languages. It can help you with understanding all things that are going on. So can Pi, that particular AI, can Pi make you happy? Well, you can choose to make it happy, or you can probably get sad if you want, but that's the beauty of it. We have control. It's really up to us and how we want to do it. If you want to be happy, okay, you can be. You want to be sad? You can do that too. It's completely up to what you choose to embrace.
Well, thank you for mentioning those things. And we'll circle back to some of the things you just mentioned. And Gina had mentioned that you had started in AI, presenting AI topics a very long time ago before it became a hot topic. So what was your initial interest, years ago when you first started down the AI path that really said, hey, I really am interested in this subject and I want to investigate it more?
For me, it was because I see AI as another tool. It's a tool that we can use that helps us to get more done. When you think about it, a technology is really an extension of your brain. It helps you to do more than you could without it. You're able to do many different activities and tasks. So that's what got me interested in it, showing people how to use that. I started my career when I was a fresh, newly minted MBA, fresh out of the program, but I was one of only 500 billion other MBAs that are out there. At least it seemed like that many were out there. But I remember something we did in the MBA program about cash flow statements and being able to track cash. I thought, that's kind of neat. We did it on paper and pencil, usually pencils with a good eraser, and put that in there, and so you could change it. And then I started thinking, I wonder if you could do that on these spreadsheet things. So I started doing, there was no classes and just a bunch of folks using it, and not really that many. So I taught myself how to do it, realized how to do that. And the AI is really much like that. It's a way to put tools together, code that gives you the ability to do more. The difference in AI, though, is it doesn't just stay there in a static form. It learns and it continually gets better. It will continually improve and change itself based on the input that comes. Other software programs don't do that. And this is where it has a lot of good. And also it means we've got to be aware of what the potential is, that it could go the wrong way. So we make sure we build in those controls. But I see AI as something that is really infusing a lot of life and possibilities into what we're doing.
Great. Thank you for that. I really appreciate hearing your background and really how you were at the forefront of when AI was first, embarking into our lives at the very beginning. Now, Gina, Terry was saying some very interesting things about AI and happiness, about we can choose to be happy or not, and different tools like this. So when you're thinking about AI yourself, are there some ways that you feel that AI as a tool can help us, like maybe increase our happiness or our health and our well-being? Are there some examples there, Gina, that might be helpful for our audience?
Yes, there are so many. One way that we have increased our happiness using AI is a simple thing like helping us sort through movies. We don't have a TV, but we do have access to Netflix and Amazon and YouTube movies. And so generally once a week we'll watch a movie. So our time for watching movies is limited. We want to be sure we choose something that really addresses our interests, and it's going to be a good one for us, because what has happened in the past is we go through movie after movie after movie watching for a trailer or checking them out, and it's hard to find a movie that we would both want to watch. Well, with AI there are tools, there are filters that can help. We can put in easily, okay, these are past movies that we liked, and it's going to suggest movies that we might like. So that's just, it's kind of a simple thing, and maybe this has been available in other ways in the past, but it's nice to have free tools that we can access that can help make our lives better just in this way. So that's one thing that caught my eye on the happiness, or that I was thinking about for happiness. How about you, Terry?
Well, I have to agree. You get the things that you like. I think that Amazon does a very good job of that. Netflix does the same thing. They track what you like, and people who are similar to you, have similar interests, also like this. And when Amazon can say, here's some products that others who bought these products liked, I like that. I think it's good. I think I can see something there that's very similar to what I've done in the past. And that's where AI can do that, and it can track it much faster. See, human beings could do that given enough time. We just don't have billions of years to put into it. The AI, though, can do things so rapidly, so fast. It goes out there and it finds exactly what's right for us. I think another area where it's really good, I'm particularly excited, is in the medical capabilities. What we can do is we can have your doctor analyze you and not just say, oh, we're going to prescribe this based on what we think it would be. Rather, with AI, used the right way, they can say, okay, we've scanned that, and we have found that people that have your same age, your characteristics, your weight, your height, your sex, your previous medical conditions, all of that mixed together, we can find literally hundreds of millions, billions of data points to find, okay, given your unique situation right now, this would be a much better prescription than something else. Couple the AI with the knowledge of a real doctor, a real medical professional who's making decisions on that, makes sure that we're going to have a much better lifestyle ahead. And frankly, I think it's really looking good on the medical side, particularly when we look at what AI can do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that is very helpful in many realms in our lives. So I'm really glad that you pointed out that in the medical profession. For myself, I know that even and I'm glad you mentioned the thing about, videos recommended for you, because I think it's true with people just streaming in general, that there's an AI/algorithm in the background deciding for you what you might want to click on next in our everyday usage of social. Um, and, in the medical profession and in other professions too, the use of AI tools really to help enhance, our current roles really leads to both sides of happiness, like the professional happiness and having the extra tool, but also the end patient or customer, and making sure that their quality of their experience is that much better as well. So thanks for mentioning that. And then also, do you have any ideas about how to use AI to increase our wealth? I know that that's a fun one. So I didn't know if you have some ideas for us on that one, Terry or Gina.
Yeah, Gina, you want to jump in on that?
Yes, I have some ideas.
Oh,
So one is a simple tool that I've been using recently. It's called Rocket Money. And for example, just today, because I'm a subscriber, plugged into the Rocket Money's system. I had sent out a payment, and it sends me a notice right away saying, hey, we noticed a higher than normal transaction. Is this valid or not? And so in the past, transactions that might have been fraudulent could have just been sitting out there, or I wouldn't have known about them. And so the longer that those things happen, this was a legitimate transaction, but certainly it could have been fraudulent. And knowing that quickly made a big difference. So I really appreciate systems like that. And, it wasn't a person, I'm sure, that was looking through my transactions and noticing. It's just because I've registered my different accounts with the system, it automatically said, hey, you don't normally do this. Was this a good one or not? And so that's a great example of just a practical example of how I'm using AI to move me towards a more wealthy state. Terry, how about you? Any other ideas?
Yeah, I think so. When you look at how can it help us to make money, we have to go back to how do we do that? You find out what people want, where there's a need, and then you make that happen. Find a need and fill it, what they told us in business school. You find that need that's out there and say, oh, people are wanting this. Can we get that to them at a price that's affordable for them, that's profitable for us, and where we can actually do it with the skills we have? That right now, AI is giving us a tool called sentiment analysis, where you can go out and find out what people are really doing and what they're saying, not just what they would say in a closed group where they say, what do you think about this? Oh, I'd like A versus B. What they do in the real world, their sentiment, what they're really buying at this time of year, and what are they saying on public social media. We're seeing comments about this, they like this or they don't like that, or this is trending or that's trending. AI can track that very well. We're doing that right now. I'm doing that with some clients that I've got that are in the deli industries, they're dairy, and they're working in bakeries, and people that are out there, businesses, and they want to know, what do consumers want today? Well, we're now doing some tests on that so we can find out what they want. Are they looking for this kind of food? Are they looking for that? Or are they getting away from this other kind here? So that helps when you're doing your tracking, and you tie that into your supply systems. You can say, we know that in July, when it's raining in this city, people tend to buy more of this product. Oh, okay. Well, July is coming up. Right now, we should be putting in our orders for July. What's the weather forecast? Well, it's going to be more rain this year than normally. Okay, well, then for this area, maybe we need to get this product right here. And you start thinking about it, that opens up a world of possibilities to sense and to detect what people want. That's the way to make money. You find out what people want, what they don't want, also what pain do they want to relieve, and then you build your systems accordingly. So you can say, hey, they don't like this, and there's an increase of this coming. Here's the antidote for that. Here's the way you can get less of that out there that's bothering them. And so we start using AI as a real assistant. That's the key. It's not owning us. It's not controlling everything, but it's a really, really smart assistant that gives us ideas, gives us advice on what to do. And done the right way, yeah, it can make some money. And I think that's a very good thing. I think like it says in Atlas Shrugged, the love of money is the root of all good. And I think that that's true, because when you can have a love of money to help others, then you start doing good in the world to solve problems and make the world a better place.
I love that. Money is the root of all good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a good one. I love it. And I love your point about, AI really picking up on our true nuances rather than, something we might express around others, to really understand true behaviors. And then that leads to, wealth opportunities and growth opportunities in business. And then also, I know that there's tools out there. Gina had mentioned the one to really help us as individuals as well. So you have both individual as well as business wealth opportunities. Now, I know there's so many other opportunities as well. So maybe, Gina, you have some other ideas about health and other things you could share with us about AI.
Yes, well, picking up on what Terry had shared about wealth, let me add that one of the things that we're helping our clients do, which is contributing to their wealth and ours indirectly, because they're our clients and we're helping them, is using AI to analyze reviews of your own work as well as your clients. So if you're a book author, it can work there. Certainly many of our clients are using it to analyze their Google reviews. So their service professionals, especially in the healthcare industry, is an industry that I've done some work in. And so they're using it, analyze the reviews, and based on that, let's create some new copy. Let's create some new marketing ideas. Let's create some new products that don't seem to be addressed. So that's a great way to use AI, is analyzing not just your marketing and marketing copy and such, but the actual things that the clients are saying. So this is really helpful. Going back to health, there are a few ideas that I had, because I'm really passionate about health. I hosted a show called the Healthy Happy Hour for several years. And so it's something that I'm very passionate about. But so one of the things is a service that I've used for many years called WebMD. WebMD, if you haven't used it before, it's pretty powerful, online version as well as the app version. When you have an ailment, you open it up and you give it a little bit of information on my female age, that sort of thing, male, female, age, and then where does it hurt? And you just click, the general area. For example, right now, I happen to be suffering from what's called frozen shoulder. And so I clicked, and it helped me walk through various things. Well, what could be wrong with my shoulder? A rotator cuff. Apparently, there's a thing called a torn labrum. There's all these different things, including a frozen shoulder. And so it helped me narrow down what I might have had. And so when I was able to go talk to different professionals, health professionals, I told them what I thought I had, and it did end up to be that very thing, even after x-rays and MRIs and all these things. And so I was able to do that diagnosis myself and verify it and validate it by talking with health professionals. And I was with one of my clients last night who is a medical doctor, and she said, "Is AI going to replace me?" I said, "Well, AI will replace a lot of doctors. I think there will not be as much need for doctors in the future." Just the example that I've just shared, in the future, I probably could have taken it further and without going to a doctor, started some different therapies and maybe some, I don't know, medications, or certainly some exercises and things like that without going to a doctor. But I told her that I think all doctors will have AI as their co-pilot. So when someone goes into the doctor's office, the AI is going to be listening and helping to sift through all these different possible conditions that could be out there. Just another example, I have a little problem called I have a foot pain that's lasted for many, many years. And I've seen some professionals about it. And the professionals said, "Oh, okay, well, you probably have this particular condition." Well, one doctor that I saw recently said, "No, you don't have that condition, because that wouldn't have lasted all that long." Well, AI would have known that. And if the other doctors had been using that as part of the screening process, probably I could have been on my way to recovery a lot faster.
If I can jump in on that, one of the things that a friend of ours told us, who is a doctor himself, and he said that there's devices now that they can use it very similar to what Dr. McCoy did on the Enterprise in Star Trek, in fiction, decades ago, where you could take something and hold it up to scan someone, and that scanning would be able to check your eyes, which I understand has a lot of information what's going on, can get your skin temperature, your heart rate, and other vital signs very quickly to then make determination of what's going on. Then the doctor, the professional, looks at that and said, "Oh, this is going on. Oh, that's going on too. Let's check that a little bit more thoroughly," and they can look into it. They've got devices now that are working and can do this. So we can find the cure, ascertain what's really going on, make a better diagnosis much faster in the medical field. And I think this is an example of AI really helping out, giving us the kind of tools we need, helping us to have better health because of it. And so I think there's yet another positive sign coming from the world of AI.
Yes, whenever we can have those extra tools, it always helps, us more and more. And based upon what you both just shared, there's going to be some concerns clearly, with people who are listening to you talking about, the use of AI in medicine and, can AI replace a doctor and things like this. So two questions, kind of like a combo situation. One is what do you have to share in your knowledge about AI right now about privacy concerns? Okay. And then also, are there any kind of cautions people should look out for when utilizing AI in their personal or business lives?
Terry?
Well, I think there's quite a few. If you look at the privacy issue, that is important. Privacy has always been important. And I think particularly in the United States, we value privacy a lot, and we need to make sure that we have it. However, there's a continuum that sometimes we need to find out what the bad actors are doing, someone who's up to no good, right, deciding to harm someone else. We need to know what they're thinking. And yet we also want to be able to have privacy so that we don't have a big brother from 1984 looking over our shoulder to see everything. I think what we need to be aware of is when you're using AI, don't divulge all the personal information you have on there. Make sure that you set up the controls so that it is kept quiet and it's kept private. Many of the AI tools now that are coming out are giving you that ability to say, I'm not going to let this part go out into the web. For instance, in ChatGPT, in the lower left corner, there's a setting you can use to make sure that you keep your information on this computer, on this device, and it doesn't go up to the cloud so that everyone else will be able to see that. Be very careful in what you're putting into the computer. For instance, I would not recommend putting in your social security number, your mother's maiden name, those kinds of things that are very private. Those are objects, those are things that you have in your life that you don't want the world knowing. And so be aware of that. And I think we're going to need to take precaution. We'll learn as we go with it. But that doesn't mean we swing to the other side, say, I'm not going to use AI because of that. It reminds me of something that happened to me years ago when the internet was getting really popular in the early 90s. I remember I was visiting relatives up in Michigan and with a friend that was with us. There was three of us walking down the street, and they said, well, what are you doing these days, Terry? Well, I said, I'm getting into this thing called the internet, doing a lot more with that. It's really good. And I remember the woman who was with us stopped right there abruptly. She looked at me and real angry. She said, I will never let my children on the internet. I said, well, why is that? And she said, well, because there's dirty pictures, there's pornography, there's drugs out there on the internet, and I'm not going to have them exposed to that. Well, let's step back for a moment. She had children at the time. I think they were 3 and 4 years old. And so she's taking care of them as a mother should. She's wondering about them. But in her mind, the internet simply meant only pornography, drugs, bad things that she did not want her children involved in. I think when we think about AI, many people are like that now. They go, oh, I'm not going to use AI. It's just tearing away our privacy. It's doing all these bad things. We need to realize throughout history, technology has been that way. There's good and there's bad. I often like to say in my programs, it reminds me of what my buddy Og came up with years ago in the cave. He came up with this thing called fire when he invented that. And fire, oh, it's good. It'll warm the place. Yeah, you can use it for cooking. Hey, that's good. But it could hurt too. Can destroy everything. It can kill you. Oh, it's bad. Well, there's pros and cons, and we've got to be able to understand that. So when it comes to privacy, that's something we want to cherish. We want to build those controls in, get really, really smart people to help build that in as an integral component in it as we're moving forward. We don't know what we don't know right now. There's a lot going on right now, and so we need to be very careful on it, use proper measures, don't do something capriciously and just run with it. I think that we've got to be careful and be able to pull back in some areas. We say, okay, that's a little too far. Let's build this into it. Because we've also seen a lot of movies where it shows, oh, the world is terrible. The future becomes bad because monsters and robots take over. Well, that's science fiction, and we don't have to worry about those kinds of things happening to all of us. I think that what we want to do is build the steps for privacy in, and we'll be a whole lot better.
Thank you for that. And Gina, you have some ideas along this line too?
Yes, and that's one of the reasons I've always been excited about your concept of big time happiness, is that I think it is important to put more happiness out into the world. And I think with AI, we can do that, and we do need to be cautious and concerned. For example, one of the areas that I do some work is in the mental health space. And I have clients that provide mental health services. And I think this is an area where, okay, I can use AI to get closer in on what's going on with my shoulder. Can I use AI to diagnose anxiety, depression, actually talk to a mental health provider? That's where I think one of the areas where we're going to really need to exert a lot of caution. I think that AI can be used in initial diagnosis. And let's say that I wasn't sure, am I experiencing anxiety or depression or loneliness? Perhaps using even just a basic tool like ChatGPT could help me to diagnose what I'm doing. And then certainly I think it's smart to talk to a human professional who can help with that. But once you're closer to understanding what's going on with you, you can ask for ideas. Well, how can I deal with this anxiety? For example, going to an event last night. I'm an extrovert, so I don't have this problem, but I know a lot of introverts have the problem of I'm going to be going to an event where I don't know anybody, and how can I decrease my anxiety? What are some ideas for engaging in conversation? These are just things that you can ask your co-pilot in all these different situations that can help you. So are there concerns? Absolutely. And I think that some people are going to be relying on AI as their therapist, which I think is probably too early for that. I don't think that that's really a good idea right now. But can it help me with conditions that I might have or think that I have? Absolutely. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Mhm. Yes. So for myself, I agree along the lines of having it as an extra tool. But for me, nothing beats, having like the professional to really assist me in my life. They've been fully trained. They know me as a person. They understand, my needs, and their education and experience and expertise as a human being is vastly more important to me than AI. So in my world, AI is an extra tool to use and a great tool in many ways. And I'm also glad that you kind of mentioned a couple things in there. One is the caution of don't put your personal info in there, or make sure you check out the privacy, terms of whatever tool you're using. But also the caution of overuse of AI as a friend. And I mean, this is just one example, but like asking Siri, "Hey Siri, tell me a joke." You know what I mean? And like just getting into this conversation with Siri even before those things happened, because I mean, you need to have the human element, not just the AI element. And there is no elimination of, the good that person to person communication and help can provide. Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. And I think that it's definitely going to be very common for people to have their digital friend, their Siri, Sarah, whatever they call her, and to have these regular conversations. Terry and I both use the mobile version of ChatGPT, which includes, if you use that option, a voice, and you can choose male, female, a lot of different options there. And the conversations are very natural. They're uncannily natural, of asking a question and they ask you questions back. And Terry, you want to share a little bit more on that? Because that's something that I think is definitely a good way to use AI and also potentially dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. I'll circle back to what I was talking about earlier, that tool called Pi.ai, Pi.ai. It's very much like that, with particular emphasis on the emotion side and being able to get to know you. That's a real key. It gets to know you, what you like, what you don't like, what you are concerned about, your areas of interest, and that can build up over time. And you keep that private just to you on your device. It works well. I love what when Gina was talking about with ChatGPT. I was having a conversation a little while ago. I was just getting to know it and just talking to the person, and she was answering back. I was using Sky, which is one of the tools, one of the voices that are there on ChatGPT, asking about different people that are interested in, philosophers and historians, people like that, like Lysander Spooner, and what Lysander Spooner said about this, and Herbert Spencer, and what Herbert Spencer did. He was a philosopher from England in the late 1800s, and what he did. And it was interesting. Something happened in that. And I thought you would appreciate this. I was talking to him, and I was asking about Herbert Spencer and what his philosophy was, et cetera, et cetera. And then it came, and Siri came back, and, or not Siri, but ChatGPT came back and said, yes, and he never went to the United States. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I thought he did. And so I was asking about that. And then I said, well, what about Andrew Carnegie? Andrew Carnegie, one of my heroes, because I know that they kind of work together. She said, oh, yes, Andrew Carnegie did this and this and this. And matter of fact, he did help Herbert Spencer come to the United States. I was wrong. I gave you the wrong answer, Terry. And I thought, whoa, this is amazing. So they actually said it was wrong, and it went back. And sure enough, Herbert Spencer did come to the United States. Andrew Carnegie sponsored him to come over and did a series of tours and lectures around the country. And I thought, this is interesting. It's like a real personal friend that I'm talking to in Chat GPT. I think for those who are extremely lonely and might be a little embarrassed to get around people, this could be a good tool to use. And I would lean on the wisdom and advice of competent professionals in this, like psychologists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, people who are really good, have studied this and are particularly good. They would know the proper blend of what to do for each individual, because it might be that you will work for this person, wouldn't necessarily work for that one. That's where, again, I'm going to trust those trained professionals who are psychologically sound in using those time-honored and time-tested methods that work better. But when you think about it, getting some object, something that knows you intimately, knows your likes and dislikes, and can say, hey, here's a book that I think you would like, and you might want to read this, or here's a news story that just broke a few minutes ago that you would be interested in based on your past records of what you've done. I think that can be a good thing all the way around. What do you think, Lynette?
Well, thank you. I like how we toss this around to all three of
Well, it's a
us.
nice discussion. We're all sitting around here having a good time. What do you think of that approach?
I love that. So for me, I just am concerned about a person being isolated too much, because I used to be very isolated. And if I were to get into a conversation with AI, like that's one option. But for me, it wouldn't have been the most emotionally supportive,
Mm,
healthful choices, because it was more important to me to be with people and human interaction. So I think
yes.
it's amazing that you can have this conversation. I think it's really important and cool, and I know that we're right now in the infancy stage of AI. So it'll be interesting, to see how all these things are adapted. And I know in a moment we're going to go into some more personal stories, but I didn't know if you have anything to wrap us up with AI before we moved into a little more personal questions.
Well, there's the big issue that people refer to called I think it's called the singularity, which is an event that's predicted to happen, which is where AI takes over the world. So the robots take over and they become smarter than humans, which actually this is expected, becoming smarter than humans, which they already are, but to be able to take over. And so a lot of people are concerned about that. And I'm not an expert in this area, but my thoughts on it are that I think as more people with good intentions, which is mainly everybody. I mean, there are very few true evil people in the world. There are some, but most people have good intentions, and they're looking out for themselves and their family and their communities, and they want the best for others. And I think the more that the good people are using AI actively, then when the nefarious things come along, when the dangerous aspects of AI and the more evil people are trying to implement AI, I think that we'll be able to deal with those problems better. I haven't come up with a really good analogy for that yet, but my gut feeling is that the more people, going back to Terry's scenario with fire, the more people know how to use fire well and extinguish it. When people are arsonists, of course, the firefighters and people who have been using fire in other ways are going to know how to extinguish it faster. Terry, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would just mirror what you're saying and echo that, because it's a tool, and AI is a tool. As such, it has a lot of potential for good, enormous good. Some of the things that we just mentioned here are possible, and many, many others. However, there's also some dangers. So realize, like any other tool, you need to study it. You need to know it. Matter of fact, I'd say for those that are watching this, that are listening to what we're saying right now, make it your rule in life that now you need to know about AI. Study it, put it as a part of your daily consumption of what you're going to consume. Just like you would look at certain foods you're going to eat, certain kinds of information that you're going to process, you're going to read about this, you're going to go to the University of YouTube to study this thing, learn what's going on with AI, keep a pulse on the market of what it's doing, know what's there, know the good, and understand the bad. And I think we'll be much happier if we know all those features and know how to put them together.
Definitely. And I'm glad that we talked about a few things, and few ways that people could use AI to have happier, healthier, better lives. The example of, looking up different symptoms before seeing your medical professional, the opportunity to have a conversation if somebody is isolated, especially like in 2020, when a lot of people were, by themselves, like that's so important, So I think that talking about the cautions as well as the positive things, I really just see a lot of enhancements to our lives. And that, in fact, AI, in my world, in my opinion, definitely makes our lives happier. Okay. Because there's so much more access to information and streamlined information, saving time, and bringing people together. So I'm really grateful for that, fact. And good. So thank you both so much. And I just wanted to make sure that we got in a couple questions about your personal lives, about just share about what is making you happy right now, what's bringing you some joy. What are some of the cool things that are really uplifting your lives right now?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. Uh, we live in a beautiful condo that Terry purchased 27 years ago, when there was not much in this particular area of Orlando, but now it's grown up some in a good way, in a nice, well-planned way. But specifically from our balconies, we can see 4 lakes. We see daily sunrises. We see the moon in all of its different phases, and the moonrise, especially the way it glistens on the lake, is so nice and cool. And just those things that have to do with nature really are very nice, and we're perfectly positioned to be able to see them. Additionally, Terry and I have our daily dates. He always asks me out for a date, so date night, and that doesn't mean that we go somewhere, but that means that we sit together, we have a focused conversation. How are you? How was your day today? What's going on? I mean, we're interacting. We work from the same office all day long, so we're interacting, but still that time to just take a little temperature check. Okay, is there something going on that maybe I didn't notice or didn't know about? And what's happening with you, which is really important. And I really appreciate every day that Terry makes me a priority, that he makes listening to me and my needs and my interests a priority. So that brings me a lot of joy every day.
And I would have to agree with you on that. It's very important that we are together, that we're able to enjoy. And I think there's 3 things that I have found really help each of us. Particularly, I found that it helps me when I do it. And maybe those of you that are watching this, those of you that are listening to this, think about how this could help you. Every day, I think we should have SEM. Every day, do something where you're studying, where you're learning, you're reading, you're growing, you're expanding your mind. Maybe you're listening to some audio. Maybe you're attending a class. Maybe you're going to the University of YouTube. We've got an abundance of good things out there. I would say every day make S, that study, something part of it. The E would be exercise. Take care of your body. Do it the right way according to healthcare professionals and what they say that you should do in your particular case. But aerobic activity, very good on that. Strength building, muscle building, these types of things are really important. And every day do something there. And it depends on what is right for you. Check with your healthcare professional to know what is right for you and what wouldn't be right. And then the M, meditation. Some way for you to be quiet. Now, by meditation, I don't mean any one particular strict formula. For many people, that might be just quiet relaxation and thinking, quiet reflection, maybe prayer. Maybe prayer works for you, maybe some type of more formal guided meditation or not guided meditation. Find what works right for you. SEM, every day, I think helps to generate the happiness so that when the day is over, you can step back and go, okay, I had a good day. I was able to study. I learned this and this and this today. And exercise, I was able to do this. And hey, I did a few extra push-ups for me. I'm always competing against me of yesterday, how I did before. And so if I can beat me, okay, that's good. I'm not going to compete with anyone else, but just me. And then meditation, you have some quiet time to step back and reflect and think, okay, what's it all about? Yeah, what's going on? Why are we doing what we're doing? And is this the right thing to do? And then you refresh your body, the natural process of sleep, and wake up to go at it again the next day. So I think for me, that would be what is happiness.
Okay, great. Thank you. I love that idea, the SEM, that all of our people who are watching this and listening in, can really take that into their daily lives. And Terry, in your life right now, what are some of the things you're most grateful for just going on in your own life at this time?
Oh, well, with my health, that's most important. Grandma always said, if you have your health, you have everything. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And I thought Grandma was right on that one as well. Many things she was. And also, I'm very grateful for Gina, the fact that we can be together, that we help each other. My best friend, my life's partner, and person that I can talk about, well, the good and the bad. So it's nice to be able to have someone you can say, hey, this one came through, it's great. And you need that to share. But also when you say, really bummed about this, don't know what to do and how to proceed forward, we can sit down and have that support. That's really important for me. And then I would say the community of people that we have around us, the people that we've been with. A big part of our lives is the National Speakers Association and the Global Speakers Federation, which is an extension of that, and be able to get to know people where we can talk to them about a lot of different aspects of what's going on. That's really important in life. So I'd say those are some of the most important things that I'm grateful for in my life.
I love that. And the love that you both have for each other and the date night, and then also the extension of so many friendships is really fabulous. I'm really happy for you both so much. And Gina, do you have a couple of ideas to share with those who are listening about ways that we can increase joy on a daily basis?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to be passionate about what you're doing, what activity you're engaged in. So um, often I teach about the blue zones. These are areas of the world where people have regularly lived to be 100 plus and in good health. And one of the commonalities of these areas is called the Ikigai principle. And that means your purpose for doing what you do, your reason for living. And so for us, as stark raving entrepreneurs, a big part of our reason for living is helping other people be successful as entrepreneurs, which that just brings about so many other benefits in many ways. If when someone can be a successful entrepreneur, which it's hard to do, most businesses fail. And so the fact that we can help people with that is just an example of what gets us out of bed in the morning and makes us happy. So that passion, that Ikigai principle, I think is important. Other things, certainly connecting with the people that are important. I already talked about connecting with Terry, but my mother, fortunately, is in good health. She's totally with it. She just turned 85, but she's mentally, physically, she could run circles around most 40-year-olds. And so it's just wonderful to have a daily call with her. And it could only be a couple of minutes, but at least I hear her voice. She hears mine. She knows I'm concerned about her. And I'm just so grateful for that. And I think that as your audience is thinking about this, like, who can they reach out to on a daily basis and or a weekly basis? Maybe it's connecting with old friends that you're going to start having regular Zoom calls with. Maybe set a goal that every week you're going to reach out to an old friend and have a phone call. That's fairly simple to do, and most people don't do it. But when you're intentional about it and intentional about relationships, and when you say, oh yeah, my friends and family are really important to me, and then, well, when's the last time you talked to blank or sent them a message or had a conversation? Like, oh, it's been a while. So that's a suggestion that I would have.
Well, thank you. Those are great. And I love it that you have such a cool mom and that you're connecting all the time and, have such great, ideas about connecting, that's so important. And then also the being on purpose, the Ikigai, that's wonderful. And along with the SEM, idea, SEM, I think that we have some great ideas to bring forward into our lives, along with, new ideas too about AI. So thank you both so much for being with us today. And how can people find out about each of you, either individually or collectively?
Well, collectively, you can go to starkravingentrepreneurs.com. You'll find out about what we're doing there and the kind of activities that are involved. And when we have certain events coming up, you'll find out about those and reach us individually. We're available through there. For me, very simple. Terry@terrybrock.com is email. And Terry and Brock can be spelled different ways. So Terry is spelled Terry, and Brock is spelled the right way, Brock. So Terry@terrybrock.com. You can get in touch with me that way.
And similarly, I'm Gina@ginacarr.com is email, and ginacarr.com is my website. And we just love connecting with people who are doing cool things like you are, Lynette. That's part of what gives us such joy, is that we know we're working with thought leaders, people who are doing big things in the world with their thoughts, people who are helping others. And so I feel kind of like I'm the miracle grow to help other people do more, grow more. And so that's I love that. And I look forward to connecting with those of you who are out there passionate about making the world a better place. We'd love to help you do that.
I love that. You're both up to great work. You've made great contributions to so many. I'm grateful that you're here. And for everybody who's watching and listening, be sure to sign up for the Big Time Happiness newsletter on bigtimehappiness.com, because that is how you'll keep up with everything. And, subscribe and like and comment and all that good stuff too. And to reach me, just fill out the comment form or write the comment form, the contact form. There we go. That one, the contact form. So anyway, and then also the email address is team@bigtimehappiness.com. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Terry and Gina, and have a beautiful everything.
Thank you, Lynette.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, it's Lynette. Be sure to click on the like and subscribe buttons for this video. Plus, clicking on the bell will help you get notified. Toss some comments in the chat about who we should have with us on an upcoming show. I wish each of you a life of love and happiness.